Hello, Dota 2 fans! Apologies, just had the stream drop there, but hopefully you're able to catch this as we begin once again Galaxy Battles NA, excuse me. Immortals taking on Blue Pikachu. Immortals coming off a loss yesterday, 2-1 to Leviathan. So BSJ and Co. actually taking out Immortals, dropping them down to this lower bracket. Blue Pikachu coming off of their 2-1 victory yesterday over Starboys. Certainly Leviathan perhaps a little more proficient than Starboys would be. But unfortunately, Immortals find themselves here. And did seem like to some extent Dubu got out-strategized yesterday by Whitebeard. Whitebeard, the maestro, if you will, working the 1s and 2s for the draft for Leviathan. And even in Game 3, we saw Immortals kind of just copy the first phase of the draft from Leviathan in the previous 2 games. So Immortals definitely seem to be kind of on the back foot, playing a little bit reactive in the draft. Here they're going to go for the Rubik Clockwork opening. And Shadow Demon Slardar is going to be the start from Ryu and his crew. Storm Spirit Band actually going to come out in the second phase from Blue Pikachu is an interesting one. Certainly can help to follow up with the Clockwork. But nothing in their strategy that, indicates to some great extent that Storm would be very difficult for them to deal with. They do have a pretty much instant stun with the Slithering Crush. Shadow Demon certainly not the greatest support to have against a Storm Spirit, especially one wielding an Orchid. But, I mean, what support does have a good life against that? So, not necessarily something I see MP or QO as having one of their signature heroes. But nonetheless, we'll see that Storm Spirit removed. I won't dwell on it too long. Mirana, Lifesteal are going to be taken out in the second phase. Mirana, for fairly obvious reasons, pretty good against the Clockwork, can just kind of lob the arrow into the cogs. Lifestealer, similarly, he's not a target that you want to go on as Clockwork. You can't really do much damage through Rage, and he can just trade with you inside the cogs. So, not all that concerned about having his mana burned in lane either. So just kind of makes sense for Immortals as far as those bans go. Sand King has been relatively popular throughout NA. So no surprises as far as that pick goes. Check. Welp. Probably have to restart this afterwards, but we've had enough hiccups for the day. I'll continue on the stream. Hope you guys have enjoyed your football Sunday. Mott, if you're watching in the chat, the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and I picked them. So for all you gamblers out there, here's to hoping your picks bear fruit this game. Immortals taking on Blue Pikachu. Certainly one team is heavily favored. I won't speak it so as to jinx anything, but Puck going to be the pickup for Blue Pikachu. Kind of similar in vein to, the Lifestealer and Mirana bans. Fairly elusive hero. One that can certainly blow a Rubik up. Rubik pretty good, though, thus far in this game, it feels. Lots of great stuff to steal, particularly from the Shadow Demon and the Orb from the Puck. Slithering Crush could be good if you get it early as a Rubik, when you're actually able to walk up to the enemy, lift them into a Crush, but beyond that, you'll need at least a Blink Dagger to make use of it, and maybe even an Ags. Got to be spell stealing, from far away from the engagement in order to actually follow up with a Blink Crush. But still like Rubik overall and in general. Really odd. All in one swift motion, the stream dropped and my mic was unrecognized and then became recognized again. So very odd, but unfortunately, we're not going to have Dota TV sound for this one. I could give it a quick restart. You know, let's do it during the draft. We'll talk about the Medusa pick in the meantime. So not all that much as far as, you know, damage from these supports goes. You do have the Shadow Demon to use the Medusa illusions, and Split Shot now being a passive, that's kind of cool. I can use that to shove out lanes and perhaps help the Shadow Demon to get farmed and then get into a scenario where he actually can contribute some damage. Alright, let's get back in here quickly, boys. So not the same scenario as yesterday where we had teams that lost still having a life in the tournament. We are currently in the lower bracket, guys, so stakes are high for both sides, and we didn't miss anything as far as picks and bans. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad, MRP. Feel free to yell at me, guys, if anything sounds off as far as audio levels. So Blue Pikachu, looking at this 4th pick. They will have the last pick of the game, so I was going to say, you know, you might want to expect the safe laner. And reason being is you can flex this puck to off lane. So pending the matchup that they see coming out with Immortals' last 2 picks, they could even pick a mid laner in that 5th slot. So Luna, definitely a hero that can contribute a lot of damage. We talked about that Medusa early on, and Luna is more than capable of team fighting early, especially with a disruption and all the kind of frontline and counter initiation that a Slardar and Puck can offer. So very interesting pick from Luna. It's a cool pick, gives them a little bit of push ability as well. And the Drow Ranger to come out from Immortals. This feels like a very Dubu type strat here. You've got the front line with the Clockwork, you know, 3 ranged heroes elsewhere with the Precision Aura early on. And the Precision Aura has been nerfed recently, so I feel like it's only like 3 or 4 damage at level 1 nowadays, but still can make an impact, especially as it begins to scale. And one thing you need most as a Drow lineup is a front liner. Drow does want to hit the buildings, but she doesn't want to be the only one hitting the building. You know, you have sometimes you'll see a Tide Hunter in front. There's a Clockwork in this game. Perhaps one of the best is that Medusa, as she can also be damaging the tower from range, and it's rather safe. You don't want to go on her. She can instantly pop that Stone Gaze. Right now, a Waning Rift can stop that from happening, but at some point you would expect this Medusa to have, you know, a Manta style or something similar in nature. Immortals going to round out their lineup with a very Immortals-like hero. High tempo, up tempo, high pace kind of play with this Night Stalker. That's certainly what they can execute in this early mid game. And the Brewmaster going to come out from Blue Pikachu. So one way, you know, I spoke about this yesterday. One way to deal with a Tide, one great way, is to use the Stormling, the Storm Brewling, to cyclone him up into the air for a long period of time. And, you know, Medusa, an extremely similar hero as far as the role goes, you know, with respect to taking structures, as the Tide Hunter. So in some ways, can just kind of cyclone up that QO Medusa, try to get to work on this backline. However, I think Immortals have a nice, you know, they've formed a nice balance of, you know, tanking, beefiness, and damage here. With the Night Stalker and Clockwork both innately having, you know, high strength or high base HP pools at the very least, there are few heroes that you can burst down here for BP. A lot of initiation though, potentially 3 Blink Daggers for BP's side here with the Brew, Slardar, and Puck. So if they can get to that backline first, they will be able to eliminate a lot of damage. Right now, Immortals have Febby playing up on the Drow Ranger. Okay. MP swapping to the Night Stalker with Forev. Forev going to the Clockwork. Febby now swapping with MP. All right. So a little bit of mind games being played just to fool the caster, I suppose. And we do have Mike. We do have life with the mic, which is good. So we'll throw it to the in-game, boys, and we'll get into this Game 1, Immortals versus Blue Pikachu. Winner is going to go on to face Leviathan, who dropped Immortals to this position yesterday. in the BO3 finals of the Stage 1. And then the winner of that moves on to face Optic Gaming in Stage 2. So certainly a long and grueling road ahead for either team. But for now, both teams vying to continue fighting. One will end up going home. You know, they'll have to get up from their chair, which they already are in at their home, and stay home, figuratively speaking. This draft feels a lot more like an Immortals draft to me than did, you know, some of what they composed yesterday versus Whitebeard's Leviathan squad. As Alrin, he's going to find an initiation here top. They can't get in range just yet, though, for the crush. As save, not there. And Febby will be able to, you know, saunter over back to his rune away from a couple of ugly reflections of himself. So for Rev, he's going to drop down a ward. And that'll give him some vision over by his bounty rune. For the moment, does seem like Forev will be out on the island. You expect Febby to spend some time in towards the mid lane with the QO Medusa. And you certainly expect there to be support for the Drow Ranger early on with Dubu's Rubik. Dubu's Rubik going to be doing a little bit of blocking for QO in this mid lane, and Villain actually blocking up his own lane for BP's side. Dubu does have the TP out towards the top lane as the unit begins to approach the tier 1. We'll see him do that. But for now, we'll hand the block off to QO. And 3 tangos, 2 clarities. That is a good man, the Dubu Rubik. There's not much to show for it as far as net worth goes early in this game. Ryu actually going to be alone in his safe lane, and Gust forced to be skilled up here as the aggressive tri-lane centered around the Luna is going to be assembled top lane for Blue Pikachu. Into the face of the MP Drow Ranger. You know, not all that uncommon that we see Drow Rangers being aggressed upon in the early game. It's certainly one timing with which you can exploit her weaknesses.
Put it out of your mind.
Still, though, I mean, Night Stalker Rubik not... you can't call them not fit to kind of play in this defensive stance. They certainly are rather beefy and have an instant cast point. Disable with the telekinesis, a slow with the void, and a pretty good uptime nuke that void is. So they certainly can trade here, and this is going to mean that we do have a true kind of 1v1 in the mid lane. Gus does come out, nicely placed by MP, and that will thwart any attempt on the Febby Night Stalker here. Does leave a 1v1 in the mid lane that I want to mention. And sure, Puck's going to have an advantage in this lane, but no real, you know, kill threat, it feels, for QO's Medusa, which is a good thing. If he can manage to scrounge some farm out of this lane, Immortals should be very happy about it. He's always going to be buffed up by the Precision Aura behind him as well, being fed to him by MP. And Febby going to make rotation over down to the mid lane where a double damage rune resides. Villain, he's going to be a very difficult kill as the Puck between these two heroes. So QO will just pick up the DD for himself. He's getting a whole 6 damage out of Precision Aura right now. And the Mystic Stake will fly through. Feels like, I don't know, recently, not sure if you guys would agree or not, but it feels like the Mystic Snake bounces have been, you know, a lot more fortunate, a lot more honed or fine-tuned by the Frog recently, and that they do bounce kind of in favor of Medusa. Felt like it was a very unreliable kind of nuke a few patches back. So Kyo's got the full Aquila up, and now he can begin to start to, you know, push this lane in. And once he gets a few levels, as mentioned previously, there's not much kill potential for the Puck alone. And, you know, being in this aggressive tri-lane configuration, Blue Pikachu, their rotations, if they were to take save on his Slardar and Alrin out with the Shadow Demon, which is the only way they kill Medusa it feels. That would be very, very obvious since they're in an aggressive stance. Crush is going to come out, excuse me, on Febby, and Lucent Beam will be there as well. Go for the instant TP. Do they have the damage? They do. Telekinesis drop there. But regardless, a couple right clicks are enough. Scrooge McDuck on the Luna is going to find the first blood. So MP rotates out of lane, try and save the Night Stalker. To no avail, unfortunately. Still, though, it doesn't feel like they've, really done much with the aggressive tri-lane. That's the first kill they're able to net. Sure, Luna is farming okay, but it's not as if they've hindered the progress as far as the Drow Ranger goes, who's, sitting atop the charts. Kyo with a very wise play. Nighttime, just no vision around this area at all. Gets a missing call from the top lane, and this is just what I was talking about a moment ago. It's just very obvious when these two supports move out of an aggressive tri-lane. So Kyo just right-clicks the rune and backs away as opposed to going for it himself. They are still going to make a move on him mid lane. And he does get the mana shield off in time. So again, going to be a difficult kill as TP's come in from Dubu. Fadebolt's going to be there. Febby is there as well. And Villain, he's just going to drop to a right click here. And Immortals have successfully already turned this. QO still standing and fighting. Gets the wand charges off. Kills the Slardar. It's a disaster in the middle lane for Blue Pikachu. And, Immortals, they're just anticipating this. When you're in an aggressive tri-lane, the supports being missing is just a very obvious kind of reality. And Febby rotating in from the south side, TP in from Dubu as well, and QO just far too tanky to bring down. It's a 3-for-1 in the mid lane after the first blood was topped by Blue Pikachu. Immortals are going to strike back in a big way. Talk about this bottom lane for a moment. We haven't given it much attention thus far, and both heroes pretty much at parity. Forev slightly higher as far as experience goes and is going to pick up his level 6 here. And in fact, Forev's just been winning the game, it feels. Skill to skill here in this 1v1 melee matchup. He is winning as far as CS goes. And to say that against Drunken Haze Brewmaster, pretty impressive for Forev. So perhaps there's been a lot of trading going on, and he hasn't been drunk and hazed up that much. Forev did go for 1 point in the flare, so not really great for last hitting. Top lane, though, they get the crush out onto MP. He gets the gust off, but it's far too late to save his own life. They are trading into the Shadow Demon, but he should be just fine as well. Febby, though, thinking about jumping forward, has the fly over the trees, gets the Void off, and one more right click will get Alren. Meanwhile, on the east side, Dubu going to drop to the second crush, and Ryu's even rotated, and he's going to split up to ensure this Febby kill, or at least try to ensure it. It is nighttime. They will find him with the boulder toss, and the Wind Panda nearby, so can just throw him up in the air. Decides exactly to do so. Will drop him back down into the boulder toss. Lucent Beam will be there, and the crush coming through from the recently TP'd in save. And a nice piece of micro there from Ryu as he makes his first rotation out of lane. Meanwhile, though, Forev bottom lane, well, Haste Rune for the puck should keep her safe. But Forev did find some extra space in the bottom room. He actually did try and go for this kill, which was, optimistic considering the haste. And now Forev could be in trouble. They don't have the Eclipse just yet, and he will be able to cog bounce them back, but the disruption keeps him nearby. Febby rotating in, coil onto 2. He gets the Void and the Crippling Fear off onto the puck. Can they do enough damage to the puck, though? And the illusions from the disruption soaking some of the battery assault there, but they do end up getting the kill off on the puck before Forev drops on the clockwork. Nice rotation down from Febby. This first nighttime, he has been very active. First making it in towards the mid lane and now down in the bottom lane where they will take out the puck. After Villain pretty much had a free trip home or a free trip to the shrine, and he chose not to take it and re-engage. Mid lane, he'll just use some fountain regen to get a little harass off onto QO. But they thought they could kill the Clockwork Forev, just level 7, very tanky. Disruption is going to be there. Eclipse will be there as well. Febby will almost soak the entire thing, and he's forced to back. Lucent Beam will finish him off, but they do get the return kill onto Luna as they've rotated in MP. Now they'll get the second kill, and best believe that this tower will take some damage as well with MP in the bottom lane. TP does come out immediately from save. Should be scouted, I feel, by the Dire in a moment. It is not, actually, for now. Not there. It was scouted briefly, it feels, and MP, in light of that, will back out. Or at least kind of play safe. Crush is used here, though, so could have been an opening, but with not too many Shiros showing, We'll see the Drow Ranger retreat to safety. And she is certainly a very good jungler, so not going to hurt her that much, the rotation. They do get 2 kills with her present with the Luna and the Shadow Demon going down. Primal Split available again for Ryu, and he's up in the top lane. Dubu nearby, Forever rotating in as well. But doesn't feel they have the full kill potential here on Brewmaster, excuse me. So MP looking to build into that Dragon Lance is fairly close to it and farming rather safely nearby his tower bottom lane. Rotation looks like it'll be queued up here using Ryu's Primal Split as Smoke off the Courier will connect onto 3 blue Pikachu members. Looks like they may be baiting Scrooge McDuck in the mid lane or baiting their tier 1 effectively. Ryu does not have a blink, he does have the phase boots, but Lucent Beam should keep QO in range. He does get the tower hit and he could be in trouble now as a Drunken Haze flies forward. Stone Gaze will be there. Now a hook shot on the backlines as well. Forev coming in, taking a lot of damage as QO, but he gets the magic wand off and he's just so darn tanky. Mystic Snake going to keep him fighting. Lucent Beam is going to be there with the Brewlings. They're still trying to work him down, and they will finally get QO. Now Forev in trouble, as without MP's right clicks, it just felt like Immortals didn't have all that much damage in that fight. They survived quite a while, you know, Clockwork and Medusa being rather tanky, but they end up dropping and not getting any kills in return. They do end up getting the last hit on the tier 1 before the fight, and MP should be able to bring down this tier 1 right after it. So not a disaster for Immortals by any means, but certainly signs of life for Blue Pikachu as they take the kill lead 8-7. Net worth still in the favor of Immortals, and as we take our first glance at it, even Forev up higher than the puck at this point. Ryu, though, similarly higher than his mid laner. Soulcatcher going to come out top lane. Crush will not connect as the Crippling Fear comes through from Febby. QO does not have the Stone Gaze, though, and the Eclipse will do tons of work in this top lane. Now in trouble as well is MP, as a Lucent Beam should be available in just a moment. Sprint forward, form save, will get the vision for this Crush. They get the Corrosive Haze off, and a right click into the the Thunderclap. Excuse me. Is going to secure the death of MP. So 2 big cores now going down top lane without even the need for their puck. And Blue Pikachu, without a Primal Split, just that Lucent Beam, and that's what we talked about in the draft screen, this Luna. So fight ready early on as long as she has a good front line. And certainly with the Brewmaster, Slardar, and the Disruption to kind of set things off, it seems that Blue Pikachu do have that front line necessary. Luna Shadow Demon, we've seen this before.
And it's off.
Bot lane MP will try and get a little bit of this farm underneath his tower. Feeling safe here. A lot of stacks being farmed right now by Scrooge McDuck and his comrades. Disruption Illusions helping in that cause. And QO He's finished up his Dragonlance phase boots, but considering the start he had, he did feel like he was more ahead than this at a point, especially when they made that 3-hero turn in the mid lane. Coil will connect onto 2, and Stone Gaze going to be popped off. They stop the Primal Split with the Telekinesis. Can they make it away, though? Mystic Snake will bounce through, and now Villain coming gets a 2-man Waning Rift off. Ryu gets the slowdown off onto Dubu, but Dubu, he's stolen the Illusory Orb and is able to jaunt away. Kyo going to Magic Wand himself up. Doesn't get the Mystic Snake off, though, as the crit actually reduces him below the amount of mana needed to use it. And the Drunken Brawler crit coming into play there for the Brewmaster. Dubu trying to spam out the wave with the Illusory Orb that he stole here. Forever rotating in. Is going to be seen by the Wind Panda and thrown up into the air. And he'll be up there for another second or so. As he comes down, they get the Primal Split stolen. Dubu trying to go to work here. Boulder Toss will connect. They get the Crippling Fear off onto the Luna as well, and they're looking to find more with the Wind Panda in the north. So Luna drops down the Wind Panda. Cyclone is going to find the Shadow Demon. Dubu with the Rubik plays trying to turn this game, and he gets 2 kills for his squad. In the meantime, it looks like MP TP'd out of bottom lane where he was gone on by the Puck and the Slardar. Corrosive Haze and Veil debuffs lingering there, but I suppose he was able to TP out after the usage of the Crush.
Jackpot.
Top lane, Ryu in trouble, and Primal Split is not available. He's going to be dropped down. 4x kill streak going to be taken there as well for 4Ev, who's kept up, very impressively as far as value in this game. Blade Mail, Soul Ring, Tranquils to his name, and he's got 600 gold in the pockets. Villains really struggled, considering the start in this game. It seems like that one big turn in the mid lane hurt them considerably. And he has succumbed to the crippling fear a couple of times now. 0-2 and 4 on the puck. Not a kill to his name either, which is unfortunate as far as his item progression goes. Just the Veil on his person. As Save rotating around with a ward will catch glimpse of MP. Dubu going to find him with the telekinesis, and perhaps that'll tip them off to his mission. See what Dubu does with his sentries here. He's actually going to sentry the cliff over to the east, so they realize what he was intending to do, but they don't guess properly. And yeah, both his sentries going to miss. That is a big time feels bad man for Dubu. We know he's not stream sniping though, at least. He couldn't be because there's a delay MRP.
And it's off.
So 200 gold. Well, I wouldn't say thrown into the toilet. They'll still have detection around there for a while, but a couple of wards secured by the Radiant side, neither of which seem to be eliminated anytime soon. Darkness going to be popped as Febi looks to make a move to the north. Under ward vision is Ryu Borus on his Brewmaster. Rocket Flare's not going to connect, but the telekinesis is there. They have the crippling fear. He'll silence him up. 4M's going to hook into the back of Febi, though. He may get enough time to get the Primal Split off. He does not. The second usage from Dubu and the immolation from the fire Bruling will be able to net them the kill there. Cyclone on the south side as well by Dubu will expire here. And they might have some idea of where MP is located, as there was a lane ward here, but he makes his way back uphill and will be scouted by the Radiant shortly. He'll make his way back to lane, always a little more valuable, these creeps, than pretty much any other ones you're going to find on the map.
A prize.
Especially for the amount of time they get killed in. Working on the Blink Dagger, though, for Villain, and he's rather close.
Silence.
4Ev trying to get that coveted Force Staff. Clockwork players. Could be a good game for the Orchid, but the crippling fear has seemed to be enough for them as far as locking down the Brewmaster and the puck occasionally in this one. QO working on the Mask of Madness, I suppose. You have it flying out. He does. I was going to say he looks a little underfarmed as far as measuring his net worth on the graph overall. So he does have the full mask at this point, and we'll clean up a couple of camps right before the 17-minute mark. And look at that range with that passive Dragon Lance. Oh, now jumping forward, they're looking for the initiation here, and I couldn't find it for Ev on the low side. Ryu is silenced up, can get the split off, it seems. They are going to disrupt him, and Febi going to take one last crush from the Slardar. Now the Stone Gaze coming through, though. Over on the south side, Eclipse popping off. Forev gets into the fog. Villain going to look for him with the Illusory Orb. Does find him. He will cog himself up. Rocket Flare will kill off some illusions, and on the north side, they look to take down the Medusa. So it's a, after I find my bearings on the camera, it's just a 2-0 going the way of Blue Pikachu. They do expend the Primal Split, and they should be able to take out this mid lane tier 1 as Forev beginning to shrine up alongside Dubu. The glyph is there, though, and Rocket Flare thrown out. Yeah, it looks like they won't be able to mount a defense here. Immortal's just going to get to farming. So they lose QO once again in this game. He did just buy out rather recently. Forev now, hookshot available, has an arcane rune. Throw the Rocket Flare out onto the puck, and we'll find him. Can he bounce him back, though? Blade Mail will be there. He'll take a little bit of damage, and Forev will give up pursuit. Blue Pikachu have looked impressive this game, and you know they've held Immortals to a very sort of docile lead. 2K at 18 minutes in. Now Darkness pops. Save could be in a little bit of trouble flying over the trees. Void first on to Save, so he can't blink away. Nicely played by Febby, and MP gets them a kill, and also they'll be right outside of an objective, and this is kind of the way Immortals in a lot of teams in Pro Dota want to move, is that the most valuable kills to them are the ones that can transition immediately into objectives. And you know, with a Drow Ranger lineup, you almost absolutely require being able to do this. Top lane, Forev gets a solo kill, dare I say. He maybe just thunderclap into the blade mail, not expect the damage. He had split available, but Ryu just gets soloed by Forev's Clockwork, and that is an impressive one. Perhaps he was able to force staff into the mana burn, and then Ryu was not able to use his split. Love to go back and watch the replay on that one. But with the force staff, it's certainly possible that he burned enough mana. And we'll give Ryu the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps he used his clap, had enough for split, but then got mana burnt. Smoke up top lane for Ev with the rocket flare, going to do a little scouting. Should have briefly seen the Luna, and he did. But Alrin now in trouble. Well, Demonic Purge comes out. Forev is essentially baiting, though, as jumping forward, Save doesn't get their crush off. Disruption will be there defensively onto the Luna. Jump, clap, split in the backgrounds from Ryu, and Forev still standing tall, even with the Soul Catcher here. Save's going to go down. Forev finally drops. Waning Rift trying to chase forward onto Dubu. They have the Corrosive Haze there, and Dubu is going to get taken down with the Coil. Meanwhile, on the south side of the fight, Primal Split still working wonders for Ryu as he cyclones up QO into the air, but now MP joining the fray, and they have the Stone Gaze there. QO looking to petrify up Alrin and Ryu, and he won't be able to get it done. Febby is forced to back out. MP joining his Medusa on the south side. It'll end up being a 2 for 3 in the favor of Immortals. But wanted a little more on the backlines that they're unable to get here. Febby rolling through. Ryu with a blink clap, but that won't kill off this Night Stalker, who's pretty beefy at this point. And they'll concede the tier 2. It looks like Ryu will have his Vlads delivered. And can show himself in lane with the vision around, but won't try to chase after any of these Immortals heroes. And that is a big lead now generated by Immortals, or at least one that's significant relative to what they've been able to generate previous to this state in the game. You see the kind of biggest jump on the net worth graph occurring after that fight and tower. And QO starting to get big alongside his MP Drow Ranger, who's working on the Manta and is very close. QO working on his Lincoln Sphere and is close to that as well. Recipe sitting on Crow. Febby gonna pop the Darkness just to make it even more dicey for Blue Pikachu to try and contest this Roshan attempt, and they will opt not to as Ryu continues to push in the top lane with his Vlad's Aura. Gonna blink into the fog, and wisely so. Forev looking to pursue him out, and actually Ward Vision here. But Febby on the south side has found the puck. Crippling Fear was used. And again, Alrin, just no Yule Scepter, which he is working on and was so very close to purchasing up. But that'll be perhaps the last time he just ends up straight up dying to this Crippling Fear. In the meantime, Radiant do take a tower out top lane. No one able to secure the last hit. But Febby on the backlines finds Save once again. Void is going to be there, but doesn't look like they can join the Night Stalker quickly enough. Frost Arrow actually flying from the low ground. Febby looking to chase forward for more, but Ryu is there with the clap, and this may just be a dead Night Stalker because of it. Dubu does not have a blink. It will, however, be able to get Febby out as the Thunderclap slow expires. And, oh, Forev looking for the hook in onto Ryu. They missed the Gust as well. Immortals look to reset here. Save maybe looking to go in. Blade Mail pop by Forev to try and dissuade him from initiating. And Immortals wisely, they'll back out of that mid lane. Kind of a lot of misfires there on some of their key spells, and wouldn't have been very smart to continue into that fight, it felt. Missing the hook shot, missing the gust. Just looking to reset and get those cooldowns back. 20 seconds until the hook shot is up. Drow's got her full complement of spells, and certainly is one thing Blue Pikachu can do is push these waves out in, you know, some state of safety. These disruption illusions lasting a lot less though than they once did as far as duration goes. Gust is going to connect on to 3, but a 5-man waiting rift and coil. Blink clap split is going to be there, but do they have the follow-up damage just yet? Luna from the low ground going to pop the eclipse off, but it's spreading pretty nicely between the Immortals lineup, and there are creeps nearby as well. Forev finds her in the cogs. Disruption will be there, but QO just manning up from the high ground and raining arrows on his enemies. Cyclone up into the air was from the Yules onto Febby. QO continuing to chase forward here. They got the Luna down. Save was dead and buys back. One volley of arrows flying forward for the Shadow Demon. And now silenced up is the Puck, and she's going to take a few arrows to the backside. Drow Ranger and Medusa comboing up to kill her off. Save looking for the save with his Slitherine Crush is going to find a return kill. That's going to be onto Febby, but QO still fighting and standing strong. Dubu behind him. MP a little bit unhealthy here. And perhaps for that reason, Immortals need to back. They did get the buyback out of the Slardar. We'll see if they're content with that. Still, though, the right clicks. The Shadow Demon dropped down by QO, who is completely undeterred in this bottom lane with Aegis in hand. Mask of Madness flying. And Drunken Haze will come out, and this is exactly what I was talking about. When you have a Drow and a Medusa in the front lines, it just allows MP to do so much more from the backside. They are rather up front here, though, and the Lucent Beam will connect onto the Drow Ranger. MP will back off to the staircase. They'll look to sell out on this melee racks. They may just lose everyone for it, though. MP in trouble is going to Hurricane Pike back and gets the Manta off. QO fighting, still hitting on the racks. They will disrupt him, and he'll get the melee racks, but likely die for it here. Actually, does he even get it? He doesn't. And Dubu hanging around as well. This Rax will regenerate, guys. So a big stand on the tail end of things for Blue Pikachu's side as QO goes down. MP was able to make it out on the Drow Ranger, but they don't get the melee. They can kind of take out Shrines hereafter, but that is Aegis down for this lineup, and certainly would have liked to see them do some structural damage with that Aegis. You know, you do have a Luna on the Radiant side, but I still don't think with Medusa Drow, Immortals are too concerned about, you know, being outscaled per se, but to not be able to get that major milestone achieved with Aegis in hand in the melee racks still standing is certainly subpar, not ideal for them. Big item pickups off the back of that. We'll watch this smoke movement. It's not going to bear anything here. There's no one around top lane. Puck has had the Yules for a little bit. Vlad's came out on the Brewmaster we saw as well. So no major items, it seems, for BP's side after winning that fight. But they could run into Forev here, who's working on a Halberd, which could be really nice for them going forward. Glimmer Cape for Dubu. He's going to do a little de-warding at the very least. There's actually a ward here scouting him just briefly. And it will scout Forev as well. Dubu looking to make the move in. He could just get bursted here. We'll drop down another sentry, and this one's out of range of the ward as well. Some really sneaky wards by Blue Pikachu this game, none of which have been de-warded. Hook shot, though, is going to land regardless onto save. Now a jump forward with the Lucent Beam and the clap split on the backline. Forev still surviving, but the Glaze bounce through and kill him off. Gus will connect onto the Brewmaster and the Luna. Brewlings and the Luna, I should say. And Luna in trouble now with MP on the north side, throwing a volley of arrows. Villain also taking quite a bit of damage. He's able to get out, though. The Brewlings could be in trouble. Ryu going to be able to blink back. Febby continuing to give chase as darkness did expire, but the frost arrows will follow. Void will be there. Double kill for QO, and just as quickly as Blue Pikachu gain an advantage or gain, you know, positive yardage, they give it right back, so to speak. QO right down to the bottom of the lane to shove this in and try to make use of these respawn timers. He'll be joined shortly by his team, and just look how much, you know, almost 60% of its health it felt regenerated by that melee racks. But backdoor protection for whatever reason was not active. Perhaps creeps were in the bottom side of the base just recently, And for that reason, QO able to take out the melee racks with one cast of the Mask of Madness. And now they'll look towards mid lane, where 5 seconds remain until the Shadow Demons back up. QO goes to the high ground, will pop the Mask of Madness as the wave enters. MP going to get a positive earn charge, and Hurricane Pike back onto the Slardar as a few arrows follow him back to the well. Jump forward, they will get the disruption off. Primal Split is going to be queued up by Ryu. Forev, though, he finds the Shadow Demon in the backline, kills him off. Gus connects onto the Luna. QO still standing strong and fighting to get the Crippling Fear off onto the Slardar. They'll chase him down and should be able to kill him off. Now, cycloned up in the air is Dubu, but Scrooge McDuck pretty far out of position. Fadebolt will connect, and one more right click will finish him. Triple kill for QO, who is nigh unkillable at this juncture in the game, and Ryu Borus can't say the same for him, as he'll end up dropping to his own clap. And Dubu with an exclamation point on that kill. 30 minutes into this one, Immortals run over Blue Pikachu with a Drow strat. And certainly this, trampling of Blue Pikachu kind of happened all at once after that Roshan attempt. Blue Pikachu admirably keeping up throughout the early and mid games in this one, and didn't necessarily feel like they were out-strategized, but they didn't get much done as far as the lanes. They didn't get enough done, it felt. Immortals were more than happy with the early game, and when you run an aggressive tri-lane, Luna included, you want to get more done, and unfortunately Blue Pikachu just not able to come out of the early game with a big enough lead. They did some really good things with their first few Primal Splits, but just were not able to transition it into map control. Against a Night Stalker, always a difficult thing to do. Clockwork also helps in that regard. And excuse me, Immortals just all around well-rounded strategy from Dubu in this one. Good beefy front line, the Drow Ranger strat from the back, and they will take a lead. 1-0 in this series, guys. Galaxy Battles NA qualifiers. Immortals up 1-0 over Blue Pikachu. It is a best-of-3 series. We'll be back with Game 2 shortly. MRP here on Beyond the Summit.